Hey, I'll do the disclaimer then, Dan.
Okay.
All right, guys. Hi. Welcome to Tech Talk. We are a minute away from going live on the radio. Standard footnote, whatever you want to call it. Um, we broadcast over the radio app, obviously. We take breaks on there, play commercials and a couple of songs, but we stay live on YouTube. So you will may run off and I don't know, smoke a cigarette or something like that, have a vape, but you'll be with us the whole night. And if you're listening on, or anybody listening on the app, we'll hear commercials. And so we're coming to you commercial free. Yeah. Isn't that right, Danny?
That is right.
All right. We're 10 seconds out here. Well, good evening. This is Tech Talk for March. What is it? The 22nd?
It is the 22nd.
Yep, it is. I'm Alex, your host, xandermac, whatever you want. I should pick one, right? I'm either going to go by Alex or xandermac.
You should.
I should do xandermac because when I change the name of the show to the Xander Show, that would make more sense. No comment from you, Danielle.
Wait,
we're changing the name of the show
again. Well, you theoretically change it to Tack Talk, but then never actually changed it.
Yeah.
So I figured this is going to go the same way.
Yeah, Tack Talk would be good. Who came up with that name?
You did. You.
I never remember that. Obviously, as you can hear or see if you're on YouTube, Danielle is with me in Hangouts. Also in the studio, I have a guest. I have Thomas Chastain. He is the only Republican candidate running for post 1 commissioner in Rockdale County. Thomas, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Before we get started, before we move on to Thomas, I'm going to talk about something. There was a discussion on the morning show about the last meals and the cost savings that we could experience from ending last meals to convicts, people on death row, right? And by the way, you two feel free to jump in if you want to. And the funny thing is, I believe in research and facts and numbers. So I'm throwing some numbers at Scott. And I think Scott kind of mistook it. I think he believed I was disagreeing with him, where he and I actually agree on the premise. I think the premise of a last meal to a convict is kind of silly, letting them pick and choose what they want, because I don't know, is the purpose to make them feel better, or is the purpose to make us feel, benevolent or righteous or less bad about, killing somebody? But the thing was, they were listing off, oh, this guy had a lobster tail and some shrimp and just listing off a whole list of foods and working under the misconception that if we end this practice, we're going to save a shit ton of money. So I did some research, and turns out the average cost of a last meal in the United States is $40. Some states are as low, the average, because say Louisiana has a limit of $15. Some states have higher limits, but it averages out to $40 per meal. From 2007 to 2013, that 6-year span, in the entirety of the United States, there were 259 executions, or 43.1 per year. You take those 259 executions, multiply it by $40, you come up with a total cost of $10,360. Divide that by 6 years, it's $1,726 a year. So last meals aren't really costing us a great deal of money. I still don't really agree with the premise. I think it's kind of pointless. But there's no cost saving to be had here. Here's the funny thing, though, is Scott was listed. Oh, the guy had shrimp and lobster tail and some mac and cheese. They've got it made, and I laughed my ass off. It was like, yeah, they have it made. Wake up, eat a meal, get killed. Yep, got it made. Anyway, I just had to get that out of the way. What do you think of that, Dan? What do you think of this whole last meal premise?
I mean, I get the point. I understand that they're trying to, I mean, I think the idea is to allow the person some dignity, but, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
I think they're on death row for a I would hope they're on death row for a reason. And I also think that a valid point to it is that part of the idea is that it's sort of separating us as society from those that just murder. Like, well, we're treating them well, we're giving them a last meal, they get to pick what they want. Like, I think it kind of makes you feel better.
that's what I think it is. It's
Yeah,
designed to make us feel better about putting somebody to death.
right.
But you know, if they're on death row, and now I have said in the past, I believe there needs to be a much higher burden of proof before somebody gets thrown onto death row. But if they're on death row and the state met their burden of proof, I don't give a shit what you eat the day you die. I really don't. I don't, you know, and there's always going to be a last meal, whether, you
Yeah,
know,
you
the
got to feed
last
them
thing,
something.
exactly, the last thing they eat is going to be a last meal. If I were being executed, I don't know that I'd be that hungry that day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
Sure, I
and often you hear of I don't know why I'm so obsessed with, the whole like serial killer murderer, but uh, I have this kind of fascination with like what they do before they die. And it's not uncommon that they'll ask for something like cheeseburger and fries or like fried chicken and mashed potatoes. It's really often that it's comfort food. It's not, lobster tail and steak and
yeah,
shrimp. And
exactly. I think that's the exception to the rule. From the research I did, most people are asking for a cheeseburger or something like
yeah,
that.
it's the things that they had in their pre-prison lives that they don't get anymore.
Yeah, especially if you're in Sheriff Joe's prison. But Sheriff Joe, is it Aprilia? I don't even know how to say his name. He used to serve his convicts bread and water, literally. Then a lot of fuss got made of
Yeah,
that.
you
So
can't do that.
he had to start actually feeding them, and now I believe he runs the only jail in the country that's 100% vegetarian.
Really?
Yeah, costs him 59 cents per meal to feed an inmate, and he charges them $1 per meal. So he's actually making a profit off of it.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. All right. So let's move on. Thomas, thank you for coming in. So we'll get this out of the way right up front. You're running for a post one commissioner on the Republican ticket. And you're running because you want to run.
That's right.
Okay. What now? Here's what, you're a young man, right? And if you listened to last week's show, I apologize because you came up when Terry was here. We were talking, and I kept saying, "Oh yeah, that's the kid that runs the Rockdale Jobs," and I don't mean any offense by that. It's just that you're a lot younger than I am.
I don't mind being called kid for a few more years.
Okay.
No problem.
Okay. Well, if you did see it, I didn't mean any offense. So, if you took some, I apologize. But you're a young guy, right? And when I had Senator Van Ness in here, and I was talking to her on the phone over the weekend, I was saying it's kind of rare these days that somebody you're a millennial. It's kind of rare these days that they want to be involved in politics at such a young age, right? Now, let's ignore the county for right now and ignore the problems the county's facing. Let's talk about you and why what got you to start, for example, the Rockdale County Jobs Facebook, and then what got you to run for commissioner. Basically, what got you interested in your civic duty?
Well, like you said, millennials aren't normally interested in stuff like getting involved in government, politics, or anything else. Most of my friends, I couldn't name you one of them that's involved.
Well, I mean, a lot of my friends are your age, right? And they're either in college or trying to find jobs or working on their career. And the last thing on their mind is, they're all interested in politics. They all have an opinion on policy, but the last thing in the world they want to do is jump in like you have, feet first, into this type of position.
And that all comes from the extent of me trying to build my career, my family, and everything in my community.
Mm-hmm.
Me watching it makes me see what's going wrong, and that makes me want to make a change in the community.
Okay.
Because I have my daughter I'm raising. She's 6 years old. I got my wife at the house just right now, probably listening to us. I have a family I'm trying to raise, and that draws out your desire to want to help the community, help the people around you, because if they're doing better, everybody does better.
You're absolutely right. It's also kind of rare for somebody, a millennial these days, to be a Republican.
Yeah, I'm an oddball.
How did that come about?
I've always appreciated the Republican values
Right.
of staying conservative, spending within your means, and letting the people prosper by their own power. That's always resonated hard to me. My parents are hardworking people. They've always worked for what they had, and they never took handouts or any kind of help from anybody, even when they needed it hard.
Right.
I'm not that cutthroat, but I believe I need to live by my own means. And I believe if the people believe that way, the government needs to do that way. So it's always kept me tied in strong because of the way I was raised up, just that upbringing. It's
good for you. So you come from a strong family, obviously, strong family background. What's your, did you go to college? Are you in college? Have you been through college?
I left out of Rockdale High School. I graduated from there, and since then I've just been in the industrial trade, working warehouses.
Okay.
Been operations manager of a plant for a couple of years. Now I'm currently maintenance manager of a warehouse in South Atlanta.
Okay. Providing for your wife and family.
Yep.
Yeah.
All day.
Good for you. Good for you. So how did okay, and you've been in Rockdale your whole life?
26 years.
26 years. So you were born and raised in Rockdale County.
My
Okay.
parents moved here about 6 months before I was born.
Okay, good. So how then did that morph into, was Rockdale Jobs your first community service type of project?
Yeah, I'd helped out in other places before with Boy Scouts and things like that, but that was the first project I took on myself and laid out myself and organized.
Explain to people what Rockdale County Jobs is and what its intention is.
Okay, well, I started Rockdale Jobs group to be a Facebook group. That was the only intentions, was to connect people. Employers would go on there, list their jobs they had, and the job seekers would come on, see them, and apply.
Okay.
But that quickly morphed because of people saying that they were finding jobs but couldn't get to them quick enough. They wished I could give them some connections. So I decided to do the job fair. And since then, this is my 5th one coming up on May 11th.
All right. Well, tell us about the job fair. Tell us where, when, and how it came to be. Oh, well, you've started on how it came to be, but let's talk about the red tape and all the hoops they made you jump through, which I guarantee you they did, and how you got business involved.
That was pretty difficult because once I started reaching out to companies, the companies, for the most part, thought it was a scam.
Okay.
Because I'm the only job fair that's free for everybody.
Okay.
Nobody else's job fair. They charge $400 or $500 per employer to show up. It could be a little less, could be a little more. It's more of a retention fee.
Okay.
We opened up and started letting employers come in for free. What that done is turned our job fair into the only job fair that brings in 28 employers. So we have more job fairs than anybody else's. I mean, more employers than any other job fair.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah. We're one of the biggest. We have some of the high organizations reach out to us and ask how we set it up so they can put their models after ours.
They'd have to be willing to do it for free the way you were, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the biggest.
Yeah. Not many people are willing to do that.
That's why no more popped up this
Yeah.
week.
So where and when is the next job fair?
The next one's going to be on March 11th from 10 to 2 o'clock.
10 till 2, where?
At the VFW in Conyers. That's at 1432 VFW Drive.
Okay. And what employers are going to be there?
So far we have our normal ones. We might have Walmart distribution back out there. None of them are set really until the last few weeks.
Okay.
They all kind of have a range, but we're going to have mainly construction and manufacturers at this one.
Okay.
That's our target base in this one because it's springtime and that's the industries that are kicking up, really needing work.
That's very impressive that you got that put together. And what were there any? Of course, there were hoops to jump through with the county, but you obviously overcame that hurdle.
Yeah. You just got to keep pushing. I mean, we had at one point a sound ordinance at the VFW, because the VFW is actually split in two properties. It's owned halfway by the county and halfway by the city. So we couldn't figure out where to get sound permits, but we went ahead and went around that. We've had problems with getting funding and helping. My main issue has been getting government, our local officials involved to try to spread the word to other, because we have the people in our community are in with different groups. So if they go spreading the word, more people in our community know about this event, can get jobs.
That's right.
I was never able to get any of them involved. That's actually what pushed me to start pushing it more as a group, is I couldn't get any of the leadership in the county to take over this issue.
And have they since?
We've had one commissioner, Commissioner Oz Nesbitt's been a very, very good teamwork partner in this event. He helps out every now and then with getting employers, bringing in more people. Like I said, a lot of the base that shows up was brought in because of him.
Okay. Okay, sorry. That's Jacob sending me a message. No, Jacob, we have not talked about the FBI yet. He didn't want to miss that. We talked about last meals, and you missed that, so you'll have to watch the replay. I'm sorry. All right, so I mean that I got to tell you, that's very impressive. It's quite an accomplishment, to be honest. And so this is your 6th year.
This is the
fifth year.
No,
so you were 20 when you started doing this.
Well, I was right.
Or 21.
Yeah. When I started, Rockdale Jobs grew. We've had 5 job fairs, but they're not every year. We actually do 3 a year.
Okay.
So we've only been doing job fairs for the last 2 years.
Okay, I see. But I mean, this is going to be, there probably is no statistic for this. Of the people that attend the job fair, what percentage do you think are probably successfully placed?
Well, we don't have the exact number.
It's going to be hard.
Around 600 to 800 people show up at a job fair, and we normally have around 120 to 200 positions.
No kidding.
But when they leave, every position's been filled.
No kidding.
Every employer says they get a list that's so good they know they'll fill every spot. So we can go in saying if there's 150 job openings, we put out 150 jobs.
That's amazing.
Yes, sir.
That's a 20 to 30% placement.
Yes, sir.
That's better than most colleges.
Yep, and better than most recruiting agents.
Yeah. Wow.
And we don't get anything from it. We don't take from the people who are looking for the jobs. We're just trying to put in their pocket.
Yeah. So for you, this was merely to help people in the community. There was no profit motive or anything like that.
Like I said, I work a 9 to 5 all day. I call these companies while I'm at break and lunch break. I call the employers. I get 15-minute smoke break in the morning, and I run outside and I call employers and tell them, hey, it's me. We're doing a job fair. Do you want to come out?
That's Danielle, you have to admit that's impressive, right?
Yeah, sorry, I muted my mic so
That's
the dogs didn't bark. But yeah, that's wow.
That's a lot of work for. I mean, really, just for the satisfaction of helping.
Yeah, for no personal benefits. You're getting nothing from that.
You don't know how many people came up to me and sent me messages saying, "You helped my family so much because we didn't have any job. Now I have a job, and I can start doing better for my family again." And it really, so it'll bring you to tears reading some of the messages because they're just so heartfelt.
I'm actually more and more impressed the more I hear from you. We have to take a break. When we get back, we'll move into what pushed you towards the post-1 commissioner's position, and what, if you want to talk about any plans. It's kind of early in the race. I don't know if people, I always say you don't have to talk policy, but we can talk ideas.
There you go.
All right, we'll be back in a few. Yeah, that's impressive. That's a lot of work to put together, to try and organize everybody. I'm kind of shocked that it took that long to get some help, for some assistance from the city.
I was too.
Yeah,
I really was.
Yeah. Now let me, probably double up on some things while we're chatting during the break. Let's say you're elected to post-1.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there are any rules that govern this or not, but you'll continue with the jobs Facebook page and the job fairs and
Very
things
much.
like that. Okay.
Very much.
And probably have a bigger advantage now, because then you would be on the board of commissioners.
Mhm.
You would have I'm assuming, a larger reach.
Yeah,
Okay.
it would be able to reach out to a whole lot more businesses and companies, and move this even to start bringing in some other counties to help them get jobs, because even the counties that surround us,
Gotcha.
if they're doing bad, we do bad.
That's right. Has the county itself or the city ever been at the job fair as an employer?
We've had the sheriff's department,
Mm-hmm.
the fire station out there, but we haven't had the actual county.
Okay, that's just surprising.
It is, especially with how many county officials know about the events and know when they're going on.
Yeah, that's very surprising. And I guess Oz wasn't able to. How long's Oz been involved?
About since our second event.
Okay, since the
He's
second
been on
event.
4.
All right. Well, maybe we'll light a fire under Oz's ass. And yes, of course he's busy. He's busy running for chairman right now. I'll have to have him in.
Yeah, I was out of all of them. He's a pretty good guy. The other one, Richard Oden and Doreen Williams, I just can't ever get
Yeah,
connected with.
I've only ever spoken to Richard Oden once.
There's one more than me.
Yeah, he called me. Well, I was upset about something, and I sent an email, and he called me, and we ended up chatting for an hour or so. All I can say, I'll tell you this: about Richard Oden, he's qualified.
Oh,
He's
got a record.
Yeah, he's qualified to do what he does.
Yeah, he does.
Actually, it's not true. I saw him the other day at the. I work on the campaign to reelect Sheriff Levitt.
Oh, okay.
Which is, kind of weird for me, because being a conservative man, and back in a Democrat, it's been kind of odd. No, I mean, I back the sheriff because of his record,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
A 30% reduction in crime is nothing to laugh at. Yeah. But Saturday there was a meet and greet at the Democrat headquarters, and all of the Democratic candidates were there. And I said to Christopher, I said to Eric's campaign manager, I said, I hadn't planned on going to that one because there's a high likelihood of my bursting into flames if I set foot into that room. And it was, oh God.
You definitely get some second looks.
Yeah, it was, well, I couldn't keep a straight face through half of it. I'll tell you, it was funny. But yeah, the chairman was there. He was there. And, I mean, he's an eloquent man.
I wish I could meet him. I really do. I've reached out to him so many times, just wanting to talk to him with ideas and ideas for solutions and things like that, help with the job fair, and just can't ever get him.
That's weird. Hold on. You want his cell phone number?
Yeah.
I may give you that by the end of the night. Hell, you're running.
Hey,
all right.
If you do, I'll be more than happy, because I like to. One thing about me is I'm not your normal Republican who's going to sit there and dog Democrats all day. You notice if I'm in the community, I'm helping Democrats a lot because I believe in bipartisan. But, yeah,
I'm not one of these.
Yeah, I just want them to help. Yeah,
I'm not one of these right-wing whack jobs. No offense to all the right-wing whack jobs out there. I consider myself a Thatcherite conservative. I'm very very moderate on social issues, and very conservative when it comes to economics and crime. Well, I guess even on crime, I'm somewhat moderate. I don't know. Well, I probably won't get into that tonight. It usually pisses people off when I talk about crime.
It's a touchy subject, though.
Yeah, well, it can be, especially lately with
Very much.
I know the media tends to focus on I don't want to say rare events, because I don't think it's as rare as we think. I think there are a number of bad apples out there.
They sensationalize.
Yeah, they sensationalize a lot. It hasn't helped that we have officials who have a tendency to back the wrong side in a lot of these cases. Who was it? Who was the kid down in Ferguson? Brown? Can't remember his name.
Mike Brown.
Michael Brown, thank you. Turns out he robbed a convenience store, right?
Mhm.
But before that video surfaced, we had the president on the television. Oh, another unarmed black man shot. I'm not one of these people that denies the problem. I know there's a problem. Actually, that is why the chairman got in touch with me in the end, because we bought a tank.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we bought a tank, which most conservatives love. Oh yeah, got a tank. Get hard on crime. Yeah, we don't need a fucking tank. No. It was ridiculous. I spoke to my congressman. Well, no, that's not true. Hank wouldn't call me back. His media relations guy called me back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've dealt with that same thing.
Yeah, Congressman Johnson. I've only ever spoken to him once, and he won't talk to me again. I don't know why. Doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I was a little bit hot about this tank, and
that was an expensive tank.
Yeah, this whole militarization of the police kind of annoys me.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, other than the tank, we've kept away from that in Rockdale. And that's why I like Sheriff Levitt, because his focus is training his deputies to, I don't want to say act appropriately, because again, it's all situational. It depends what they're dealing with, determines their actions, and you can't train somebody to deal with every single possible scenario. But from what I've seen, they do a lot better than most counties.
The only problem I have with the sheriff's administration, the way the sheriff department's been run, is the reduction of traffic forces.
Yeah, whereas me, I don't care about that.
The only reason I care about that is because on the north side of Rockdale, where some of the more bad areas are, that's more of where I'm stationed at. And what I noticed is when the traffic forces went away, the people who normally cause trouble started coming back to the areas that used to didn't have many people.
Yeah.
Because they don't see the patrol units going through all the time. They
okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I do believe that for his next term, that is actually going to be a priority of his, to step that up. So. Yeah, not traffic enforcement necessarily, because I wasn't meaning traffic. Okay, good.
Just the units that patrol around driving,
I was going to say, because this stopping people at 5:30 in the morning when they're on the way to work nonsense.
Going.
I can live without that. We all can.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's his message for his next term is you're just not what crime isn't welcome in this county.
Okay. That would be awesome.
Which is great. And he sent that message for the most part anyway, because I'll tell you what, most people that commit a crime in this county end up getting caught pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
And that sends a strong message to people. We're about 2 minutes away from going back on, and then we'll start talking about your run-in for we'll start with what made you make what made you make the decision. If you want anybody you spoke to about it, things like that, that's up. You don't have to talk about that if you don't want to, but and you're probably the youngest person in Rockdale County ever to run for county commissioner.
Yet, but I think I probably am.
Yeah.
I think I probably
bet you are.
I would not doubt it. Probably for any position. Not broken.
Oh, this?
Not that one.
Oh, yeah, the studio phone. I don't even know how to work this.
I had mine for 3 days, just got it a week ago and shattered it.
Oh,
awesome.
That sucks. Yeah, this one.
Working in a chemical plant.
This one just lives here. Like missed calls and messages and all kind of nonsense there. I don't know what's going on. Danny, if you have questions, just jump in, okay?
Okay, sorry.
You keep muting yourself.
I do. Well, because the Red Wings are playing, I got dogs barking. Things are happening here.
The more background noise, the more you are part of the show.
It's dog barking. Hear that?
Shows that way.
That's right. All right, here we go. We're going back.
Okay.
All right, we're back. With Thomas Chastain in the studio, running for Commissioner Post 1 in Rockdale County. So Thomas, what got you? What prompted you to run for commissioner?
basically seeing the extent of what can be done as a citizen.
Yeah.
And seeing what the leadership we have in power now is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that if we can take what's being done on a citizen's level and expand it by 10 times, then we can get real results for once.
Absolutely.
I have the solution for the problem that's there, so why not expand it, magnify it, and make it do better?
Yeah, and if you win the post, if you are elected, and we'll talk about that in a minute. If you are elected, obviously you started all of this, and then you have as a commissioner, you have a greater reach as well.
That's correct.
And hopefully at that point to get the county involved also.
Yep. And at that point, you can start reaching out and trying to bring businesses to the county that aren't in the county.
Yes. Also, the county, I'm going to assume, is our largest employer also.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. And they should be at the job fair.
Which we haven't even got an inquiry.
Yeah. Well, that's a shame. So you made the decision to run. Did you talk to anybody? How'd you figure out the process? Did you go to the Republican Party and talk to them? What happened here?
I went to the Republican Party like a month probably before the qualifications, but we didn't talk anything about the election or running or anything. I just went for fun, just to see what was going on. And
I mean, they had no plans to try and run anybody.
No, I had been asking some of the leadership for the last few months if there was any plans, because I was also setting up the debates for the this year's elections. But since this has all went on, I've passed that on to the Good News Notebook, who's took over the event. But so I was reaching out trying to find out if we had any candidates running or not for months, and I didn't see anything even in the works.
Yeah, which is, it surprises me, and this ties into, if you win. It strikes me, and I've had this discussion with a number of people, we have a Democratic voter base who is just completely unmotivated. Their turnout is down by 40%. We have a Democrat race that's split, I think, 5 or 6 ways at the moment.
Yeah,
5 ways right now. And a GOP voter base that is highly motivated at the moment. And now, of course, it's the GOP's, they're able to mess that up, obviously, because whatever happens in the national race is going to, flow over to all voters, obviously. And we know the GOP aren't the best at, doing the right thing. They have a habit of shooting themselves in the foot, but depending on what they do, you'll be going into this race. Well, you're going to get through the primary, obviously, unopposed. And then you're facing a very highly motivated GOP voter base. We know this for a fact in this district because we got Janice elected in a blue district, which I'm hoping happens again come November. So we know the voters, or at least the Republicans, are motivated. We know for a fact the Democrats aren't turning out in the numbers they're supposed to. I'm not sure how that will carry over come November. Maybe they'll get motivated by them. Maybe they won't. We'll see.
It all depends.
Yeah. All indicators right now say that they won't, because
you're only 6 months out
and
it's so low right now.
Yeah. And nobody wants Hillary.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say you're actually in a great position.
I would think so. Yeah. And I mean, just knowing that
the key is going to be getting your name out there, getting your platform out there, and letting people know about you.
There you go.
So how do you do that? How do we do that?
We're doing this on a grassroots level.
Okay.
We are going door to door to everybody we can find. We are calling every person we can find. I have a very small team. Most of the calls are being made by me and my 2 associates that are helping me on my campaign.
The Republican Party is offering no assistance.
They've offered assistance, just, logistical help and things like that. But for the most part, they're not involved in my direct campaign in any way. It's just, as they've gave me advice and talked to me and helped me with a few things going on. But for the most part, I'm running this as of now by myself. Okay.
All right. I'm actually a little bit surprised that the Republican Party isn't getting involved. It's almost like they've given up, right? It's like they've said, you know what, there's nothing we can do in Rockdale. Let's just call it quits.
Well, it would seem that way, but it's actually not. The Republican Party in Conyers has just took on a new image. We're a party like nobody's seen before. I mean, we got Toby Dreyer as our chairman. He's a very well-known businessman in the community, African American. He's young. You got the youngest candidate in Rockdale's history, probably running for the party.
Okay.
And we're going through a rebuild level. We've got new leadership in the last 2 years, really. Janice first, and then Toby taking over when she took Senate. And it's really moving us in a new direction. They are wanting to involve more. The youth is getting more involved because they're more accepting.
Yeah, it strikes me, though, as you're the only Republican candidate in the race, they need to be organizing events.
True.
Yeah. So I'm going to make a phone call tomorrow for sure, and try to spur them into action. I'm going to give you somebody else's number, let you talk to her as well, and she's very big in the Rockdale Republican Party. Well, it's Janice. It's Senator Van Ness, and see if she can't get them a little more motivated than they currently are, because that's the key. You know, with these local races, it's getting your name out there, right? I mean, it seems that 90% of the interaction people have with their candidates locally are yard signs, right?
I've never had a candidate come to my door of my house before, not one time.
Yeah, I
want every house to get the candidate.
Yeah, I mean, I was out knocking doors for the sheriff a couple of weekends ago, and we got a great reception.
Yep.
You know, every house we went to, they wanted a yard sign. They wanted, they wanted to, they pledged their vote. But it's for you, it's tough right now. It's you, a small team,
A full-time job. Friday and that time.
Yeah,
time.
It strikes me the party needs, as you're the only Republican candidate, it strikes me the party needs to get behind you and start promoting this and start getting the name out there and get some recognition. I mean, obviously, when people go to the polls, they're going to see your name
and it's going to
and a Republican voter, you know, hopefully likely to vote for you.
But we just don't want all the Republicans. We want
you want Republicans, you want Democrats, you want everyone across the board. People need to know what you've done with the job fair, and well, I would ask anyone listening if you want a strong Republican candidate for post 1, call the Rockdale County Republican Party and voice your opinion, and let's try to get them involved and get some information out there and some name recognition for Thomas, and try to let the people of Rockdale know what he's accomplished so far, because I'm very impressed. You know, that's a lot of motivation in a young guy. Don't see that often.
Hey, appreciate it very much, man.
Yeah. Danny, what do you reckon? Any questions?
No, I agree. I think you're an impressive young man, and I think it's really disappointing that the Republican Party isn't doing more. I'm kind of surprised.
All right. So do you want to, without getting into specifics, do you want to talk about the county, its problems we're facing, and any ideas you have?
I can run over some things.
If you, let's say you picked your 2 main priorities as a commissioner, what would they be? I'm going to assume budget.
Budget is number 1. Overspending in the county, and just all around budget management, because we have some prioritizing issues that need to be done, as well as spending cuts.
Right.
But along with that would be job
growth and attracting growth to the county. Yeah.
On an economic basis.
Yeah. Now these were questions I had for Terry as well. We have an office park that's sitting empty effectively. How do we fill it up? You know, I know business incentives, tax incentives, and would that be your idea?
Well, them are the first stage of the ideas. The second stage of the ideas is to give the employers more compatibility, knowing they can come here. So what we're going to do is try to promote and encourage more secondary and post education to try to get people on higher levels. If employers know that there's a higher quality worker base here, they're going to bring their operation here, because it's going to create higher quality products for them.
Okay.
That's something they're going to want. We need to lower taxes, property taxes, of course. We need to work on the roads that are around in the major areas, ensuring that trucks can get properly to them and back. If it holds them up all day and they can't get trucks, it takes them 12 hours to get all their truck lines for the day. They're not going to come.
Right.
They're going to go somewhere where they can get 24 truck lines in a day.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. God, I had a question. I just lost it. Sorry. Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense to open up the roads like that way. You know, there are a lot of major bottlenecks in this county, and
not to mention the bad lights that are still on timers.
Yeah. Oh God, I have one. I have one at the end of my road. I have to sit there for 5 minutes each morning
when nobody passing by.
At 4:30 in the morning. 4:30 in the morning, no traffic whatsoever. I should just run the damn light, but
it crosses your mind.
Yeah, but I know the very first time I do, I get called. Yeah, that's exactly right. All right, so budget and attract bringing business into the county. Yep.
Economic growth.
Now, so far as secondary education, though, what would you do there?
Well,
are you talking about maybe an annex of a university out here?
Not even as much. I mean, we could look at possibilities of like a technical school out here or something when the fiscal possibilities opened up. But the biggest move right now would be to take the programs that are out here on nonprofit basis.
Okay.
And start promoting them and pushing them to our people. We have AMS, which is I think it's American Medical Services, which is right off West Avenue. What they do is they give training in medical and nails and truck driving and all your normal career things, not high up ones. Normally 6 to 8 week classes, you get your certification, you're good to go.
Okay.
These programs are very affordable. We can push them out real quick. We can get people going to them that they're here already. People just don't know about them. And I've been talking to these nonprofits, and these nonprofits are also being burdened by restrictions and wanting to leave the county because they're not getting enough people out here that's coming to their nonprofits.
Okay.
And they're losing money.
Yeah. Wow. Now the restrictions they're facing, none of those are regulatory, I assume.
Not really regulatory, more than just costs.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Now, don't we also have? I thought we had an annex of DeKalb College on West Avenue there as well.
We do,
DeKalb
but
Tech.
it doesn't offer a whole lot.
It doesn't.
And it's very not cost effective. If you want to go there, you have to have a good little savings. I'm talking about more education that you can lose your job tomorrow and be able to go drop $100 on a certification so you can go try to get something else.
I see.
Rockdale Jobs is actually about to open a program up that does similar to that, training programs, but ours will be completely free.
Really?
Yep. We're doing nonprofit. We're doing everything free.
Wow.
It's going to be by sponsorships from employers that'll be able to use our services as well.
That's very impressive. It's just a matter of getting the word out then and letting people know.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a process.
All right. Well, I know what I'll be doing tomorrow. I'll be making some phone calls and trying to get some momentum behind this because, like I said, I mean, there's no other Republican candidate in the race. There's no excuse for the Republican Party not to get behind you.
This is the only race.
The only race. Yeah, there's no reason for them not to get behind you. So I'll be making some calls, and hopefully any listeners or viewers will be making calls also. I appreciate you coming in and introducing yourself. Come back anytime when we get closer to the race, when you have more definitive plans or anything you want to talk about. Feel free to give me a call. We'll get you back in. I guess when it comes time, if because you will be the Republican candidate regardless.
Till the end.
Yeah. So whoever wins the primary, we'll try to get them in and maybe have you both in here. Just have a conversation. Not a fight or anything like that. Just a discussion. Yeah. Just a discussion, see what's going on. It'd be fun if it was you and Terry.
I love having discussions like that at work. I'm an oddball at work with my political beliefs too, and almost all day it's a debate, just talking about one thing or another and shooting ideas past each other. Yep,
that happens, man. Talking about all right. Well, you're here. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the national race. Let's get your opinions on it. And this is I'll talk about something I saw today. As you know, as much as I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, And if you ever watch a replay of my show from 2 weeks ago, you'll see why. And it is based on logic. It's not just an outright hatred for Donald Trump. But as much as I'm not a fan of Donald Trump, this little guy, this guy has a habit of doing things that just it makes it more difficult to dislike him. For example, today, Danielle, I was watching he was doing a press conference outside of Trump Towers, and a lady asked a question. She was a veteran, and she asked about the Vets to Work program and whether Trump Towers was a part of that program. And Trump said, "Oh, we already are. We're already doing that. Why? What is it you're looking for?" And so he said, "What are your qualifications?" And then he looks at the media and said, "Guys, do you mind if I pause this for a second so I can do a job interview?"
Did that not strike you as staged at all?
Maybe. I don't care if it was
That
fake
seemed a
or
little
staged.
From the story sounding, it
Yeah,
seemed like it was
yeah.
staged.
And I know
How do
he
you
took
not care?
obviously he took advantage of the media being there, but man,
She
I
was
don't
a
know.
cute woman of color. How? I mean,
He did something I've never seen a politician do before.
That's true. That's true.
I've never seen, and even if it is just capitalizing or staged or set up, I don't care. It's clever either way.
I'll give him props. He's been great with his,
and he has the job to give.
almost
So,
manipulating the media.
yeah,
I mean,
very, very much so.
everything he's done has been manipulating the media. That's the only difference
But
here
there-
is that
the
it
thing
wasn't
is-
offensive.
The thing is, the media are more than
Except
happy
to a
oblige.
woman of color, it's a little offensive.
$1 billion.
Yeah, in free
media.
airtime, free media.
That's hard to
Yeah,
stop.
it's crazy, and they're more than happy. Every movie makes, they're right there.
Right.
He's
He's
going to spend less money running for president than anyone in history.
and probably already well on track.
Yeah. Yeah, and as crazy as the man drives me, yeah, at least once a day he'll say something that gets me going. But then he does something like this, and it's like, well, damn, that was kind of slick. And yeah, you know what? Maybe it was staged. I don't care. I thought it was kind of cool. And no other put it this way, no other politician could do that because they can't just hand out jobs left, right, and center.
Yeah.
So
I like to see innovative campaigning, and that's definitely innovative.
Yeah.
That hasn't been done.
I think it's going to be Trump at this point. I think he's going to be our nominee. And I've said, you know, again, as much as I'm not a fan of Trump, I'll coalesce behind him when he's the nominee. Again, assuming the party don't do something
Crazy.
to kill themselves.
Even
Which
Ted
they
Cruz
are
trying to stop them from doing it.
Yeah,
He said, "Stop."
yeah, and the GOP is more than capable of shooting itself. So we'll see.
We're known for it.
Yeah, we are, unfortunately. All right, so I guess we're kind of on the same page there. He's not your first choice, but
No,
if
but I
he's the
will
choice,
rally around him.
if he's the guy, he's the guy, right? Yep, I agree, and that's what we need to do to
I
make
just
sure.
look at my alternatives.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't go
yeah.
with an alternative.
Yeah,
in this case.
ABC.
Yep, and they're none of them are great, but I'll go with A over B or C.
Mm-hmm. Anyone but Clinton. All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you coming in. We got to jump to a break now anyway, and then Danny and I have to get onto some tech.
All
right. But anytime, give me a call again, and as we get closer, obviously, and for sure, I'll try to get both of you all in after the primary and just have a little talk.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
All right, man.
Thanks, sir.
Guys, we'll be back after this break. All right, man. Danny, I'll be back in a few.
Okay, I'll be here. Bye. It was nice to meet you. Tell him I said
Daniel said thank you. And bye.
Thank you.
Remind me, Saturday 2 until 5 at the VFW. Thomas has a meet and greet, which he forgot to mention. And it'll be his first campaign fundraising event.
Got it.
And I'll mention
This Saturday?
So, yeah, this Saturday,
The
which
26th.
there you go, the 26th. Let me see, Jacob. I was trying to get him to stay up on the mic.
He was sounded better after a while.
I'm wondering if it sounded good to us, but over the app.
Oh, gotcha.
Breaking up. I'm not sure. But no, I think Jacob would be watching on YouTube. Who knows? All right, we'll do the Apple event then when we get back. I like that kid.
Yeah, I was very impressed.
Again, I like that kid. Jesus Christ, he's accomplishing more than most people would care to do. To be honest with you, and I'm still calling him a kid.
Look, I brought my fancy glass to show you. Can you see it? It's the.
Oh yeah.
And look, can you see the indigenous art on it? Like it's hard to see because it's etching.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. I'll let you talk. So hang on, let me just switch the camera to you.
Well, I was just showing it to you. I wasn't gonna.
Let me see it.
Oh. It's gotta focus. Can you see that there's like etchings?
Yes, I'm not sure.
Here, you know what? Hang on. Let me switch my camera to me so I can see what I'm doing. So there's a band around the glass of indigenous art, and each of the glasses. This one is from Kenya. I don't know why you have to say Kenya, like you're all serious about it. But that's one of the places that water.org supports. So each of the water.org glasses has the art on it.
Isn't that the hippie organization that Matt Damon is involved with?
Yes, probably. It is definitely a hippie organization. Yes.
I think I keep seeing him do commercials for that nonsense.
Yes, it's these commercials.
It was on Hulu. He was always on Hulu doing these water.org commercials.
Yes.
You know, I have a plan for that actually. For people that are starving.
No, don't say let them die. That's mean.
No, I was going to say move to where the food is. And
right.
For people that are thirsty, move to where the water is.
Right.
Problem solved. Job jobbed.
Easy. See, this one you can't see very well. This is Ethernopia, and it's got like a bands of etchings.
Nice. We're going back on.
Whatever.
All right, we're back. What are you drinking there, Danielle?
I am drinking a Henry's hard soda, orange flavored.
Out of a Stella chalice.
Yes, but wait, let me get my visual.
That's as bad as Keith drinking a Guinness out of a Budweiser glass.
Out of a buy a lady a drink chalice.
Buy a lady a drink glass. Proceeds go to
water.org. Each chalice supports
a nonprofit charity type thing that Matt Damon is involved with.
Yes. And for each chalice, I think they're like $14. And for each chalice that is sold, it supplies water for clean drinking water for 5 years for people in what used to be the third world. Now it's underdeveloped nations. And I actually researched the organization, and they're legit.
Yeah, they are. No, they're a real deal. They run their little commercials on Hulu.
Right.
Not that I have Hulu anymore, and Matt Damon is their spokesperson, and he's apparently quite involved. My Stella chalices, by the way, were free from the Celtic Tavern right here in the city of Conyers.
Did they know that they were giving them to you for free?
Yeah, they did. Yes, they did. This particular night, it was a promotion. I think for every two you bought, you got a free chalice, and I walked out of there with 4. So
I was about to ask how many you earned.
Yeah, I earned 4 free chalices. Although I have borrowed glasses from numerous pubs, mainly Guinness glasses. Here's the thing, though. I always ask. Well,
you ask the server that you're tipping, not the owner.
Right. I'll ask the server. I say, hey, you don't care if I take this glass, do you? Not once has anyone said to me, no, you can't take the glass. They get them for free. The distributor gives them freaking Guinness glasses.
Do you have anything going on Saturday from 2 to 5 that you want to tell the people about?
Yes, actually, I do. Thomas Chastain, the guest that was on today, he has his first campaign event, a meet and greet at the VFW on Saturday, the 26th, between
Yes.
2 and 5. Um, Again, he is the only Republican in the race. So go on over there.
Meet
Get
and greet him.
Yeah, meet and greet. It'll be a campaign fundraiser as well. Also, it's at 1432 VFW Drive. So go on over. I think it's a great opportunity for a Republican in the race right now. I think they have a great chance. We'll see. And we were chatting outside, and he has a couple of people from the Rockdale Republican Party jumping into his campaign. So I hope to see some momentum here. The nice thing is he has plenty of time, right? He doesn't have to fight over a primary, so he can craft his message and his approach to the entire race, because he is in it until November. All right, let's move on. Yesterday, you want to do this first or the FBI first? I know Jacob wants to hear about the
Let's
whole.
do the FBI first, because I'm just so annoyed.
Okay. Well, Apple was supposed to have a hearing tomorrow. Today. Sorry. They were supposed to be back in court, and a judge was gonna hear, I guess, rehear. I don't know what they were gonna hear, but I guess they were expecting the judge to reaffirm the FBI's request for Apple to unlock the phone. And the FBI filed a motion yesterday to delay the hearing because they say they have a third party who has provided an opportunity for them to unlock the phone without Apple's help. That's the gist of it, right?
Yes.
Now, you and I talked about this yesterday, and it was over text, so we didn't really get to say a whole lot. Here's my opinion of this. If I were Apple, I would have tried to force this hearing today and put the judge into a position where they had to dismiss this. The only reason I can think that Apple would not try to force two reasons. Number one, the judge may be a federal government, or let's say the judge may always rule in favor of the government, for example, like this Merritt guy they've nominated for the Supreme Court. He's a big government judge, right? He always rules for the government and for the feds. This judge in California may be the same way. The second reason could be that the third party might be another government agency. Let's speculate the NSA. The NSA have never been big on sharing their capabilities because of, obviously, for national security reasons. They don't want people knowing what they can and can't get up to. Although Edward Snowden put an end to that practice.
Snowden.
Yeah. God bless him. I love Ed Snowden, man. That whole spying debacle, I'll tell you what. So anyway, a reason Apple may back down a little bit if the FBI said, listen, this is about the NSA, this is national security, we got to keep this quiet, so let's say we're delaying the hearing, but what we are actually doing is conceding the game to you, because I think this is the end. Now that the FBI have said we have a third party, we're delaying the case, I think the FBI have given up on forcing Apple, and all they're trying to avoid is a ruling against them. What do you think?
Well, I think I think we know this whole thing is precedent setting. We know that the DA of New York County told us that they have 174 iPhones sitting there just waiting.
Yeah, just in New York.
Yeah, in New York County, which we assume is Manhattan. I mean, includes Manhattan and the boroughs. So
Yeah, and the FBI have said they have thousands.
right. We talked briefly, I think last week, because we had other things going on, about the WhatsApp app, and that they're in the FBI's sites now.
Yeah, and that's owned by Facebook. So again, it's another major U.S. corporation.
Right. It sounds like in a similar situation that there is evidence that is encrypted, and I'm sorry, I can't remember if it's FBI or a state police agency, whomever it is, trying to get them to de-encrypt it, or decrypt it, so that they can use the evidence. I mean, so we know that this isn't just this phone. This isn't done now.
Yeah, it's not just one phone. We know that for a fact.
Right.
And of course, they already had a negative ruling in New York. A judge already said in New York, you cannot use the Ulrich Act to compel Apple to unlock a phone.
Right. And then that went to a higher court.
And what happened?
It's still there. It is at the higher court now.
Okay. I think the FBI's move is calculated. I don't think there's anyone that can unlock this phone.
Really?
No, absolutely not. I don't think the technology exists to unlock this phone. I think the FBI have backed down they don't want to admit that they will lose. They will lose. There's no doubt that they'll lose. Especially, you've got one judge that already said the Ulrich Act doesn't apply.
Right.
This judge in California would have to ultimately rule against the FBI. If this judge doesn't rule against the FBI, the higher court, the next court up, the appeals court.
Well, and CALEA, which is current law, directly addresses what the FBI is asking Apple to do and says you cannot do that.
Yes.
Like there is current law on the books that says you can't do that.
That is correct. That is absolutely right. And I think the FBI knew they were going to get overruled, and they did not want that precedent set.
Right.
Because they want the option to bring this back in the future if they need to.
Right.
I believe the FBI right now is picking their battles. They know for a fact there's nothing on this damn phone.
That was going to be my next question. Do you think this has anything to do with that phone?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think they've backed down because they know very well there's going to be nothing on this phone. There's nothing on this phone that they didn't already get from the iCloud account. They know that if there were anything on this phone that was his name Farood, he would have destroyed the phone just like he destroyed his own personal phone.
Right.
The FBI saw it as an opportunity to try and strong arm Apple and the public into getting behind them and siding with them because of the emotional terrorist attack. They're playing on our emotions and the fact that it was a terrorist attack. Now they've realized it's not going anywhere. They know they're wasting their time on this one damn phone. So I think they're trying to save it for maybe a case that really does matter. Maybe a case in the future where they really, honestly, 100% really genuinely need access to a device.
Or to find an approach that'll work, because they know what they have isn't going to work.
Like
their legal approach is not going to work.
That's not going to work. And they say, a third party is going to unlock the phone, and I just don't see it happening. I don't believe there's any way to do it, not with the encryption that's on the device.
So the articles that we've been reading about the strong whatever busting into it and mirroring the thing and all that's just bollocks.
Well, no, I mean they could mirror the chip, right? And leave all that means is that they leave the original chip intact while they work on a copy. But that copy is still encrypted. It's still 256-bit AES encryption,
right,
which they have to hack, and that will take decades. So even that option isn't open to them because, why would they bother? The The terrorist in question is dead. Are they really going to hook it up to a computer for 10 years while they try to break 256-bit encryption on this device? So yeah, mirroring the NAND chip or cloning the NAND chip, whatever they want to call it. Yeah, they can do that. Of course they can. You know, I'm sure they have the engineers and the technology to desolder the chips from the board and then, you know, hook them up to some kind of parallel interface and clone the information to a new chip. But you're still cloning encrypted information. Do you see
Yep.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. I see exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So
all that's doing is keeping you from destroying the only copy you have.
yes,
So
it prevents you from destroying the original.
Monkeying with a clone or whatever.
That's correct. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if anyone has the capability to do this, it would be the NSA. I'm highly doubtful that the NSA have the capability to do this. I suppose it's possible they know of a bug in the operating system that allows them to continue inputting passwords without the lock kicking in, because there have been bugs in iOS, lock screen bugs, where you can bypass the password and get to,
right.
You know, it doesn't give you access to the whole phone, but it gives you access. In one case, it was access to contacts. In another case, it was access to photographs, and they get patched as the operating system gets updated. So I suppose it's possible they have that kind of vulnerability that would give them limited access to the device. But as far as unlocking the device and decrypting it and getting access to all the information, no, I don't believe for 1 second they have a third party that can do that. I believe their motive here in delaying is so that they don't have to admit defeat, and so they don't have to have a court rule against them unfavorably.
Right.
A court can now just dismiss it, right? They can drop it, dismiss it without prejudice, and not have to rule either in the FBI's favor or against the FBI. I think they're trying to avoid that precedent. You have other ideas, I'm guessing.
No, I had not even thought about the fact that they were bluffing. I just thought that I've thought all along, because of course I don't know nearly as much about this stuff as you do. I thought all along that the NSA could do it and that they just weren't. That, you know, there was a comment in the Senate thing that we watched that day that there are things that the government and the NSA can do that they don't do because they don't want to have to acknowledge that they can do it.
Right. So
I kind of got, and that was the professor that said that wicked smart lady.
Said
she was
that. A security expert and an encryption expert.
Yeah, she was a professor at MIT and a graduate of somewhere else really smart.
I mean, obviously everything I'm saying is merely opinion, right? I don't have any inside information or inside track on this.
Right. No, I know. But
I'm basing it on my knowledge of encryption, my knowledge of how these phones are locked down, and what I believe to be reasonably feasible. I know that, again, I do know for a fact that mirroring the NAND is merely going to mirror encrypted information.
Right.
They could then try to decrypt it, but it would take decades. I think the estimate is up to 30 years, I think, to try and decrypt all the information.
Well, and that was just, Engadget or something. It was one of the articles that I sent you today.
Yeah.
The, 4 things that they're doing.
Yeah, I think it might very well, again, people find vulnerabilities in iOS all the time.
Right.
Relate to the lock screen. It's possible that a third party or even the NSA know of a vulnerability in iOS 8.2, I think that phone is running.
Yeah.
That will let them bypass the lock screen. Again, in most cases, or at least in previous vulnerabilities like that, it gives you access to limited information. But again, I suppose it's feasible from there to, with the correct equipment or a means to access the hardware, I suppose it's possible they could go further than that limited access. I mean, if the vulnerability exists, I said once you're in, I suppose
Right.
it also, once part of that is decrypted, I should say, I suppose it's then possible for them to try and pull out an encryption key, which will then let them decrypt the rest of the device. I mean, limited access, it has to be decrypted to get that limited access, right? So, um, I heard, who was it? I can't remember his name. Steve Gibson, one of the foremost security experts, he was talking about how encryption was broken just by monitoring the magnetic radio waves emanated from a PC. Something to do with the timing in the request and return loops, right? And it's way above my head, all this, by the way. But it was something to do with the timing and the frequency of the request and return loops. They found a pattern, and from that pattern of those magnetic waves, they were able to extract an encryption key. I suppose a process like that could be feasible once you have. Now, bear in mind that PC had to be decrypted to begin with, right? It had to be actively sending and receiving information
Right.
for them to actually figure
Well,
this out. So,
I mean, to that point,
yeah,
the NSA or whomever the third party is, I'm just going to say it's the NSA because I like spy games.
yeah, we'll assume that it is the NSA.
Right. Have access to OS 8.2. So, you know,
Well,
they
as
can
much
be,
as we do. They haven't been given the source code.
right, but they can be doing all of those things, you know,
Yeah, they could be. They could, but remember, an encryption key is unique to each device. So
right,
even if so let's assume they are testing this, this magnetic, I don't even know what to call it. Let's call it
right.
magnetic timing vulnerability.
Hocus pocus.
Yeah, let's assume they're testing that on one device and they're trying to rip out an encryption key. Then yeah, that could very well carry over to a device, but they would have to get that device communicating in some way in order, those transmissions, those send and receive packets have to be sent and received in order for them to even take advantage of this vulnerability.
Right.
So there would have to be some kind of bug in iOS that I would say gave them limited access to, and it would have to be to a part of the operating system that was capable of sending and making and receiving requests in order for them to do this. The contacts application would not meet that requirement. If they were able to somehow get into the messages application, they could possibly use this vulnerability or this magnetic timing method or whatever it is to try and extract an encryption code to get the rest of it. Again, I have no inside information on this. I'm just being purely speculative. My first inclination is that the FBI knew they were going to lose. They didn't want a precedent set. They also didn't want to back down publicly. And so they merely said, ooh, let's delay this to a later date and see what happens. This way, then they can then send a letter to the judge and say, oh, we don't intend on following through. The judge can dismiss the case. There's no precedent set. There's no case law, and they live to fight another day.
See, and that was sort of my thought, was they live to fight not only another day, but another opponent.
Yes.
Find somebody with,
it could
less
be
big guns.
Yeah, it could be Facebook, right? It could be WhatsApp.
Right.
But again, even doing that wouldn't solve their problem of being able to access iPhones, or in the case of Google, Android phones, so on and so forth.
But it's encryption. It's the same fight.
Yeah. Well, again, but it's unique to each device, remember.
Right. But the whole
you have to remember, they're not looking to
texted me.
Yeah, right now it's not their intent, or it's not their stated goal at the moment to break encryption. It's their stated goal to get into this phone.
Well, to force a manufacturer to create a backdoor into a device, a way to
Yes. Now
decrypt.
and what they've asked Apple to do wouldn't defeat encryption. It would defeat the lock on the phone, which would then in turn decrypt the information.
Right. So
Okay. So yeah, we can't say they're actually, at least right now, we can't say they're going after, we can't say all encryption is the same and they're just going after encryption. I do believe that they will ultimately, and I think avoiding the courts gives them more of an opportunity in Congress as well.
well, I mean, I think that we can say, looking at these, I mean, and I think you and I can acknowledge that we have very limited information and limited knowledge about these cases. Because, I mean, that's one thing that we just haven't done is read up on the cases that these
Jacob,
various.
I just got a message from Jacob. We brought this segment in early so he could hear it, and
Yeah.
he said, "My laptop died. I'm sure I missed something good."
Oh,
Damn it, Jacob!
Jacob, come
you missed
on.
the best analysis of this entire debacle. Oh, all right. Well, never
But
mind.
anyway, I think we can assume that one thing that these cases, these 174 phones in New York and the thousands of phones that the FBI has and the WhatsApp, what they all have in common is encryption. That is what they're going after.
Well, yeah, you know what we do? I agree with you. Yes, they all have encryption in common.
And that's what they want to do, is force whomever it is to decrypt, or to give them the ability to decrypt to get at that information.
Yes, they want the ability to decrypt those devices, but that means unlocking the device rather than breaking the encryption, because at this point there's no way, the device is encrypted. There's no way to break that at this point. Do you see?
I'm sorry, say that again. Sorry.
Without the public key, or the private key, I should say, there's no way now to actually break the encryption. Their
Right.
only option is to forcibly unlock the device so that the device itself decrypts the information. Now, I have absolutely no doubt that Congress is going to get involved and try to put some limitations on encryption and try to force a standard of encryption that does have a backdoor available to law enforcement, which ultimately will be a backdoor available to everybody. Because again, mathematics is mathematics, right? If there's a mathematical anomaly in the encryption, in the encryption algorithm,
Right.
it's going to be found. In fact, it will be very easy to find, because all the hacker will do is look for the anomaly. That will be the back door. And I have no doubt that Congress is going to shoot for that. They're going to try to get that. We'll have to see. I think that's further down the road. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I agree with you somewhat. I think their ultimate goal is a backdoor or a way to break the encryption of any device. And 256-bit encryption is 256-bit encryption, no matter what it's on. And if the back door is there, then it's there on everything. But for right now, all they can do is unlock the phone in a way that does not wipe the phone or scramble the phone and screw up all the device. And now, even wiping the phone, by the way, wiping the phone doesn't, they could do the password attempts, the 10 password attempts, and they may get lucky, right, and hit it on number 5, or they may be unlucky, go all the way to number 10, and the device says, oh, we're going to wipe the device now. It doesn't actually wipe the device. All it wipes is the encryption key from the secure enclave. The data is still there, but the key is gone, and then it can never be decrypted, right? because it has to have the encryption key in order to or at least the private key in order to decrypt the device. So when the FBI say it'll be wiped, and even when Apple say it'll be wiped, it's kind of a fallacy, because the key, the data is always there. It's just in an unencryptable state.
Wait, so like when you reset a device, it's really not
no,
resetting?
it doesn't wipe it. No, it doesn't get rid of the data's there. All it does is mark that partition space as available. There are methods now. I don't know if, I know the BlackBerry used to have a secure wipe option. Do you remember that?
Yes.
There were two options to wipe it, a standard wipe and then a secure wipe. And the secure wipe did a 7-pass DoD actual wipe of the physical memory.
Yes.
That's the only mobile device I'm aware of that has that
Oh.
or had that secure wipe option. Even the iPhone, all it does is mark that space as available. It doesn't get rid of, it doesn't erase the data at all. But once the encryption key is gone, that data is forever useless.
Okay.
Because you'll never, the key is unbound from the data, and then even if you came up with the key, it would no longer work in the future.
I mean, not that I have any, super secret information that anybody's trying to get from my wiped phones, but I just,
Right.
and I'm sure you and Keith have probably been over this with me 100 times, that wiping a phone doesn't really wipe a phone, but I don't know why it surprises me every time.
Yeah, no, like I say, the only one I'm aware of was the BlackBerry. It's possible there are some Android devices. For example, there's a company that its name escapes me, but they market what they market as a completely 100% secure, DoD type security Android phone. I imagine they have an actual DoD 7-pass security wipe on their device, but who knows?
So here's another, speaking of Android, why is nobody talking about Android with this decryption stuff? Like, is it just too easy to hack into an Android phone and nobody cares?
Well, a lot of Android phones aren't encrypted via hardware, and so the feds don't have a hard time getting into them to begin with. Although Google have said they are going to start requiring all Android handsets to be hardware encrypted from this point on. So it will be an issue in the future. It just isn't an issue for them now. Did you say?
Okay. So where it's like automatically part of the iPhone, it is not part of Android?
Yeah, and you have to remember, it's only automatically a part of the iPhone at this level of security since the iPhone 5S, or the iPhone 5, I believe, was the first device with the hardware secure enclave that held the encryption key rather than the key being held in the cloud, or or it's decrypted merely by password. Okay, so now an iPhone has to be decrypted by a password, number one, or a fingerprint, number two, and the encryption key, which is held locally now in hardware.
Gotcha.
That didn't exist before. So prior to that, I imagine they could hack into any iPhone, or basically decrypt any data, because the iCloud key and the device key were going to be exactly the same.
Gotcha. Okay.
One piece of news from the Apple event yesterday, by the way, this was in the update notes to iOS 9.3, which went live yesterday. They didn't mention this at the event, and I haven't seen anybody else talk about it online. There was a little note in one of the changes that it said all iCloud accounts are now two-factor authenticated. That leads me to believe that they made some changes to their encryption algorithm in the cloud, and that if you enable two-factor authentication, which I already have enabled, by the way, my iCloud account already supported it. Whether this extended that encryption across more data, I'm not sure, but it leads me to believe that Apple have made changes to their iCloud infrastructure, and it's quite possible the next time they're asked to provide data from an iCloud account that they say, I'm sorry, we're unable to do that. I don't know. I haven't, all I saw, again, I'm basing this merely off of the note in the update notes the entry in the update notes, so it's a lot of speculation on my part. But I know Apple said they were moving to make iCloud more secure. This might be it, and I'm waiting for somebody to dig a little bit deeper and talk to Apple and find out exactly what, if any, changes they made with 9.3. Anyway, we've run way over. We'll talk about 9.3 and all the updates from yesterday when we get back from this break. Yeah, that was like a 35-minute segment instead of a 20-minute segment.
Sorry.
No, I mean,
I think you were trying to go to break and I kept asking questions.
It was something we needed to talk about, which Jacob apparently missed entirely.
Jacob's fired.
How much of that did you even hear, Jacob? I don't know.
Has he started doing his show yet?
He did his show while he was here.
Okay.
And then I think I don't know if he's doing one this week.
When is it?
I
need to put him on my calendar.
I believe.
Like same time slot?
Yeah, 7. Well, yeah. Well, you know what? I don't know if it's 7 his time or 7. I'm going to assume it's 7 o'clock our time, which will be 6 his time.
Which I think he and I are the same time. Where is he?
He is Central. He's in.
Yeah, he and I are the same time.
Okay. So
Jacob, we share a time zone. We're time zone buddies.
It'll be 6 o'clock your time. Jacob, are you doing a show this week, brother? I'm going to grab some water. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, Jacob, let us know so we can add your show to our fumbling outro. Because that's almost the most fun part of the show is watching Alex fumble through the outro. I was trying to see if I have anything fun in my notes that I can talk about. Have my own little filibuster while Alex is gone. I do have something about Amazon, that Amazon wants to patent a pay by selfie feature where instead of putting in a password, or I think you can, on some devices, you can use your fingerprint to identify yourself. Well, they want you to be able to use a selfie to identify yourself when you're shopping. So I would have to really want something to, okay, Keith, stop laughing because that's not so true. I'm filibustering. You're missing my filibuster.
Are you? Who are you?
Yeah, I am. I'm talking about, well, I was looking for things to chat about while you were gone. I was talking about Amazon's pay by selfie feature. Have you heard about that?
I have, yeah.
That you'll take a selfie and they'll use that to identify you for payment.
Yeah, and from what I understand, it has to see movement, so you couldn't just hold up a photograph.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from what I understand, there has to be some motion while you're taking
that makes sense.
The picture. So
they
can, it's a live
I was trying to say that I would have to really want something to be willing to take a picture of myself, but I could like hear Keith laughing in my head. So
I was speaking of Amazon and ordering, I was watching Floss over the weekend. Doing essential man cave tech, and the Alexa, what's it called? The Echo?
Yeah, the Echo. He has an Echo.
And it has a feature which I didn't know about. You probably said something about it, but I probably wasn't paying attention. But you can order shit off of Amazon. If you've ordered it once before, you have to have ordered it so it knows what you want. But he said, Alexa, I need to order some motor oil. And it knew what oil he wanted. It read it back to him. Do you want to place the order? He said, yep. and so it ordered the oil.
She'll also make a shopping list
Right.
and put things on your shopping list, or like a list. And if it's not something you've bought, it's on a list and you can go into your Amazon and she'll give you options for it. Because the other day during the Red Wings game, I said, Alexa, can I get a whoop whoop? And then on my list showed up wolf list.
Oh, okay.
So
Kind of
she said whoop list added to shopping list. And Kurt and I are like, wait, what did we just buy? And then later I checked. And so, yeah, so you can order things directly from her, or she will add to a shopping list that you can go in later and edit.
I wonder if Siri has integration. Hang on. Hey Siri, order me a Magpul iPhone case from Amazon. Damn you, Siri.
I told you that Alexa plays rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock, right?
Yes. Yeah.
She's cutthroat.
Yeah. They were on the morning show, they were talking about movies, remakes and shit like that. And one of the ideas that came up was like a remake of the Planet of the Apes. Maybe they're already doing it, but you remember in the original Planet of the Apes, there was that very effeminate ape.
There was a girl one.
No, Cornelius.
Yes.
Yeah, Cornelius. I don't think he was gay, but or I don't think the ape.
I think he was just really smart.
Yeah,
he was like
very intelligent and very effeminate. And I got to thinking, if they did a remake of that and they wanted that same kind of character, they should get that guy that plays Sheldon Cooper to play the gay ape.
He's not gay. He's smart. We just went over that.
Well, yeah.
Although Sheldon Cooper in real life is gay.
Well, to play the how would you describe him? Effeminate ape, gentle ape.
Yeah, I mean effeminate. Yeah, he is.
Intelligent ape.
They just did a remake not long ago. Are they doing another one?
I have no idea. It was some rubbish they were talking about on the morning show. By the way, I've lost 4 pounds since Friday.
Good job.
I've been what?
You were informed thusly about the elliptical.
I've been riding that elliptical like a freaking cheap whore.
Dude, I love them.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing.
And you get sweaty too, like riding a cheap whore.
You do. And the funny thing is, I look forward to doing it. I've been looking forward to getting home and working out again because I can do it pain-free now.
What was hurting before?
Shin splints when I was running.
Oh, dude, those are just awful.
Yeah. Yeah, so I quit running like 8 months ago and I've gained 20 pounds. It's pathetic. So I finally said, you know what, screw it. I got to get an elliptical because I got the rowing machine and broke that in like a month because I bought the cheap one.
You were trying to be Frank Underwood. Remember Frank Underwood broke his too? Remember that episode?
I don't remember him breaking.
And he went ass over tea kettle off.
Oh,
of it?
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I saw that and I was like, what the hell was Alex thinking?
But yeah, I'm really enjoying this elliptical. Yeah. And 4 pounds in as many days. Yeah. Because I've also been eating well. I'm actually watching my diet as well.
Well, it kind of makes you not want to eat like a pig when you're actually doing something.
I'm not even drinking Guinness.
You're not drinking Guinness.
Yeah, I'll be drinking water now for a couple of months or for as long, until I get back down to the weight I need to be at.
Right. Then when I come down again, we can go buy that ridiculous white blazer at. It wasn't Hugo Boss. Where was that?
Then it would fit.
Exactly. Yes.
Number one was not ridiculous.
You won't be fat man in a little blazer, and we can talk about it. I mean,
obviously, with the weight I gained, it looked a bit ridiculous, I suppose.
I'm going to post that picture on techdanielle and see what people think.
Yeah, go on then.
No, I won't.
Yeah, I hope not. All right, we're going back.
All right, let's go.
But yeah, that was a lovely Armani jacket, and if I was at the weight I should have been at, then it would.
And a girl.
Gonna do a little shout out for Jacob the Guru, right quick, as they say in this neck of the woods. Thursday night, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, so 7 o'clock for us. Jacob is hosting the Rough Edge, his music show. He says it's going to be solid blocks of music with him chiming in as he goes. LOL. So we're looking forward to that. He did his first show while he was here on vacation. He was in the studio with Danielle, and they had some bearded person in here with them. Not sure who that was. I'm sure he'll tell me. There's also the Rough Edge Facebook page. I don't know how you find things on Facebook, because I've always found their search algorithm to be terrible. But if you go to Just for Fun's page, I'm sure you'll find a link to the Rough Edge right there. So yeah, looking forward to that. Jacob is going to be doing the show somehow remotely from Tulsa. I have an idea of what they're going to be up to. You know, I'm looking at this right now, and it says Channel 5 guest is supposed to be muted, and yet the soundbar's jumping all over the place. I do not like that. That's shady. Turning that down. Sorry. Distractions. All right, let's move on. So there's Jacob's shout out. There you go, brother. And while we're on shout outs, you can follow me on Twitter at xandermac. XANDER.
You're outroing in the middle of the show. Stop it.
Shut up, I'm promoting.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Because nobody plugs my stuff. They're like the morning show. They never plug my show. They never plug any of my shit. So xandermac on Twitter, xandermac on Instagram, but it's XNDERMAC because xandermac with an A is taken by some guy that's never posted a photo. I've even offered this dude money to get that username and never hear anything back. It's really annoying because he took my screen name. And techdanielle on Twitter. Is it tech_Danielle or just techdanielle?
Techdanielle, no underscore.
On Twitter and Facebook, techdanielle.
Yes.
See, your names are consistent across platforms,
Yes.
right? Mm-hmm. I'm xandermac on Facebook, facebook.com/xandermac, XANDERMAC. The odd one out, the oddball is Instagram. And nobody ever finds me on Instagram because I had to pick I had to do one of these vowel-less names, and it's really annoying.
That is a little annoying.
All right. Let's move on. Yeah, my mom's asking me about our clocks. They went forward last week, Mom. I thought I'd said last week that they went forward. In fact, I know I did because I sent it in a message. So Mom's trying to listen from England, right? And usually there's a 5 hour. Yeah, usually there's a 5 hour time difference, but because we observe daylight savings time like 2 weeks before they do, it gets cut down to a 4 hour difference for that couple of weeks. So Mom, turns on the show and she's already missed an hour of it.
Yeah.
So that's what happens there. We went forward an hour, Rube. Hi,
Mom. Welcome to the show.
You missed the first hour of the show, and I have to say it was an absolute doozy. All right, let's move on. Yesterday, Apple did their special event, and they announced a bunch of stuff. You watched it, right? Did you go back and rewatch it?
Yes. Not the beginning, just I couldn't rewatch that.
Oh,
again.
yeah, I wouldn't rewatch the beginning. That was awful. It was all this hippie nonsense about the environment and
how great Apple is and blah, blah, blah.
Kit and it was claptrap.
Yeah.
So they eventually jumped into the tech, and let's try to work through this sort of in the order they did. They started with the watch. And they released, what did they release? They released the new woven fabric bands, right?
Yes.
4 layers of fabric. Apparently they feel really nice. 4 layers of fabric. They have the watch lugs, so they replace whatever, like all these Apple watch bands do. They're easy to, I'll demonstrate. You press this little button on the back and the watch band slides out, and then you can just slide it back in. They come with their own lugs, color coded to the watch band, which is actually quite nice because you know, you get blue lugs then on, say, your stainless steel case, whatever. It's just a thing. They released a black Milanese loop, which up until now they've only had the stainless steel. The Milanese loop is like it's metal. I have one here. I'll show you. It's metal, but it's woven like fabric, and it's so I suppose it's that you could call it a chain mail. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I don't know if this will come across on camera, but you can see how. So this is the Milanese loop. This is metal, but I can fold that up, you know, like a piece of fabric. Daniel, you'll have to let me know if that comes over when it gets to you. I don't know if you're on a delay or nothing with the video. Anyway, they've only come in stainless steel so far, and they finally released it in black for those people with the space gray, whatever it is, for those people with the space gray Apple Watches. They released new colors of their fluoroelastomer bands, which are the rubber bands that come on most of the watches standard. They come on the sport watch standard. And they dropped the price of the, oh, I lost Danielle. They dropped the price of the sport watch to $299. So you can get into, you can now get into an Apple Watch for $299, which is kind of awesome. Well, if you're in the market for an Apple Watch. What did they do then? They went on to the Apple TV. Not really much there. No, it was just a new operating system for Apple TV, which now supports folders. The new Apple TV supports applications, and it cluttered up your home screen. So they now allow you to put apps in folders. Danielle's back. What happened?
Hi,
there?
sorry.
That's
I
okay.
fell off the internet.
Oh, okay. Siri supports dictation, because you remember when the new Apple TV came out, Danielle, my concern was it didn't work with the remote app, which meant you had to use the on-screen keyboard to enter text.
Yes.
And that was a living nightmare. While now Siri supports dictation, including passwords. You can dictate your passwords in Siri as well now. So I assume that means you dictate each letter, number, and character, and it types it in for you. So that's nice. You can use Siri now to search the App Store on Apple TV. Apparently, that was a nightmare up until now. And it supports your entire iCloud photo library, so you can you now have access to the entirety of your iCloud photo library on the Apple TV.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. They're making it more and more attractive for me to go get one of these things now. All right, so then they moved on to the new iPhone. They're calling it the iPhone SE. If you've ever seen an iPhone 5 or a 5S, you know exactly what this thing looks like. It's the design is virtually identical. 4-inch screen. But it's the innards of this phone that are very impressive. It's the innards of the iPhone 6S. Crammed into an iPhone 5S's body. And I got to tell you, I'm in love with this phone. You know, I wanted the smaller form factor. Yeah. Obviously, I've gone the other extreme. I eventually got it took me forever to go from a 4S to a 5. I skipped the 5 entirely. Went to I think I ended up getting a 5C at one point and jumping up to that larger screen, that 4-inch format, which I thought was then too big. Then I went to an iPhone 6, which again I thought was stupidly big. Now I'm on an iPhone 6S Plus, which is ridiculously big, but I did it because of the battery life. I did it because the battery life of the 6 was abysmal, and the battery life on this is better. But the new iPhone SE, because it's thicker, they can cram more battery in there, and supposedly it's going to get great battery life in the 4-inch form factor. Oh, I love this thing. So It has the same A9 processor and M9 motion coprocessor as in the iPhone 6. I do believe I read today, though, that it is slightly underclocked. It's the same processor, but they've clocked it down a little bit, I guess, to add some differentiation there between the SE and the 6S. I'm not sure. But because it has that M9 motion coprocessor, processor, it supports features like always on Siri. So Hey Siri, which just makes your damn phone wake up. But that's always on. It used to be you had to be plugged in and charging for Hey Siri to be activated. Now, with the newer devices, with the M9 motion coprocessor, it's always available to you. So it has the same performance as the 6S, possibly, if what I read today is true, possibly slightly underclocked. I have no confirmation of that. Has 2 gigs of RAM, just like the new devices, the 6S and the 6S Plus. They have 2 gigs of RAM. To the 12 megapixel camera off of that's used in the 6S. The 5, well, actually, I don't know about this. The front-facing camera, I do not know if that's the 5 megapixel camera off of the 6. They didn't mention it during the keynote. So it's possible the front-facing camera is the 1.2 megapixel carryover from the iPhone 5. It supports live photos. I've explained live photos before, haven't I, Dan?
Yes, you have.
Okay. It has the front-facing retina flash, so the display lights up 5 times brighter than normal to give you a flash. Let me see if I can demonstrate this and see if the lights pick this up. I'm going to take a selfie, and I'm going to use this front-facing flash and see if it makes any difference with the studio lights, Danielle. Oh, yeah. You'll see that. You'll see that in a second. So I don't know what I'm hearing. So it really brightens up the screen. So it supports that. It records 4K video. It has Touch ID, obviously. I think my phone is... Yeah, it was. I opened the camera app and it started... it was doing something. It started... getting feedback through my mic. That's weird. Did you see that flash, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, which is brilliant. You get perfect selfies with these damn cameras. Well, I mean, if I looked prettier, I guess it would be a perfect selfie. Yeah. Anyway, Touch ID, obviously, so you can use Apple Pay and your thumbprint to secure the device. And I think it's a hell of a bargain. I remember when the 6S, the 5C, sorry, the color phones came out, and they were the plastic-bodied 5Ss, effectively, or 5s, whatever they were. And they launched for 16 gig at $550 unlocked. And they were crippled iPhone 5s effectively, because they were missing features from the iPhone 5S, like it didn't have Touch ID, for example. It didn't had slower processors and shit like that. This time they've crammed all the guts in from the higher end phones. Possibly they skimped on the front-facing iSight camera, possibly, but they crammed in all the guts from the high-end phone, and the 16 gig phone's launching at $399. $399 unlocked. I think that's a great price.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Now, obviously, it's a stupid 16 gigabyte, and if you buy one, I think you're nuts. Because especially, imagine filming 4K video on a 16 gig iPhone. You'd get like 5 minutes of video, and you'd be done.
A minute, yeah.
Phone.
Now, if you did that, could you do that using Google Photo?
No, Google Photo does not upload video yet. It's just,
are you sure?
When I was testing it out, it was only photographs. I think, wasn't it? I don't know.
I'm not going to say
yeah.
you're wrong because I'm not
Right.
convinced, but I swear mine has uploaded videos.
Okay, maybe it does. But here's the thing. If you use Google Photo and you use the free option, it's not going to upload 4K video anyway. If you
Okay.
remember, in order to get the free unlimited free storage, it has to downsize your photographs and movies. I think, to a size that they choose. So you're never going to get 4K video backed up. Keith just joined us. Hello, Keith.
Howdy.
Hi, Keith.
Are you wearing a dress? Are you wearing a Hugh Hefner?
I am wearing a Hugh Hefner robe.
Yeah,
I had one of those kind of days, I'll tell you.
that's fun.
A dressing gown kind of day.
So yeah, $3.99 for 16 gig, or you could quadruple your memory up to 64 gigs for $100 extra. So $4.99 for a 64 gig. Not bad, honestly. Or you can buy it on one of these installment plans that all carriers are doing for $17 a month, for the 16 gig.
I just looked at mine just to. It does do video. I just looked at mine and there are video. Now I don't know what quality it is, but
Okay. Well,
I know one of my.
Yeah, I know
in the
it
car video.
I'll look into it. I'll look into it this week, and we'll report back next week. I know Google Photos downsamples photographs for a fact if you use the unlimited free storage option. So I'm going to assume it does with video too. But I'll find out and report back. Pre-orders, I believe, are March 24th. So in a couple of days, and then it's available in stores on March 31st. If you're still on an iPhone 4 or an iPhone 5, go get this for the price is a hell of an upgrade. Go get one of these. Even if you get the 16 gig, make sure to use Google Photos. And maybe we'll go over that again in the future if somebody asks for it. Which will free up a lot of your space for you. But for $3.99, it comes in four colors, I believe. The gold, rose gold, silver, and space gray. Rose gold is pink.
I was thinking pink. Okay, rose gold is pink. Okay.
Yeah, just pink.
Because I was like, wait, it comes in pink too.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's rose gold.
Heaven forbid it should be just pink.
I know,
Right?
right? It's
Bitches.
Apple. It's
Like my car isn't burgundy, it's blackberry crush.
I believe when this iPhone, whichever, I think it was the 6S first came out with rose gold, I sat here, looked at the camera, and said, "Fuck you, it's pink."
It's pink.
Bitches.
So yeah, it's
Primary colors, secondary colors. That's
and I'm a big fan of this phone. If I hadn't just got this monstrosity, I'd be looking at that. But again, now that I'm on the switch your phone whenever plan, I could go get one, I suppose, test it out, and then go back to this one if I chose to. But I'm not. I like this now. It's grown on me. It's too damn big.
That's what she said.
But I've gotten used to it.
Sorry, Mom.
Not what she said.
And I really like the battery life. So then iOS 9.3, that dropped yesterday. I upgraded my iPhone and my iPad, and they released a new operating system for the Apple Watch, so I updated that. So some of the features new in 9.3, Night Shift, which is the blue light filter. Now, that was on your Kindle, right, Dan? And you could turn it on or turn it off.
Yes. Yep.
On iOS 9.3, I like the way they've done it. If you use location services like most of us do, it recognizes where you are, and one of the options is to have night shift from sunset to sunrise, and it brings itself in gradually. Currently, right now, mine is, well, no one's ever going to see that. Mine is gradually moving into the warmer tones of the spectrum and moving away from the cooler blues. And because it doesn't happen in one jump, it's almost like it's not noticeable to you. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's very gradual. It fades in, then in the morning it'll fade out. It's very clever. I like the way they've done it. They do let you adjust the intensity, so you can favor the cooler or warmer spectrum for this. But I like the way they've done it, and I tried it last night. Didn't sleep any better. Don't think it made any damn difference whatsoever.
That's because you were watching for it. You got to
yeah.
just let it happen.
Yeah. So another Ruby wants to know why Keith is bright red. I assume it's because Keith is Hugh Hefnering from a brothel.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. I actually had a rough day. I just got out of the tub, needed a jacuzzi, and so I went in there, and I guess I'm a little red from that. Plus, the lighting is kind of,
Yeah. Yeah.
It gives me that golden I'm a lobster, look.
We'll
a
give you
rosy hue.
if you want
A rosy hue.
if you want to talk about it. What happened to you that you had to have a jacuzzi?
Oh, well, so my clothes washer decided it was going to leak all over the floor, and
Yeah, I saw it sprung a leak.
yeah, so I called a repair company, and they came out. They were coming out to repair it. So I just called work, said I'm going to work from home today. Well, then, as I got up, I heard actually just before I woke up, I heard this strange, like, psst, and the cat jumped, and so I knew I wasn't just dreaming the noise, because sometimes I'll dream a noise, and it's just a noise dream. And sure enough, I go out into the living room, and I've got no power whatsoever in the living room. All my fish tanks are down. My internet and TV is down, which is more concerning. So I all right, I'll go out to the fuse panel. Sometimes that happens. Couldn't get the fuse or the circuit breaker to come back up. So I come in, and the plug beside the fish tank is smoking.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And so I look at it, and I'm like, oh, that's probably not good. So I decide I'm going to replace it. Well, as I'm replacing it, I'm like, why is my hand getting wet? And so I look, and there's a minute pinhole leak in the tank, and it's spraying onto the plug.
Oh, God.
And so, because I take great care in looping. They always tell you with fish tanks you have to loop your cords so that the water, if it drips down the cord, it doesn't drip into the plug.
Yeah.
So I always take great care in doing that. Well, obviously it didn't take into account spraying directly on the plug.
Yeah.
Was it one of the seams?
Yeah, one of the back seams.
Okay.
The left back seam was just about 3/4 of the way down, was just spraying out. Just a really fine, like you almost couldn't, if you moved your hand just right, you could feel it. That's what she said. And
Like, this always happens when you two get in the fucking hangout together, and it's constant innuendo. That's what she said. That's what he said.
Sorry.
So your jacuzzi was more of a stress reliever than
it was a stress reliever. So
Okay.
I replaced the plug, and I emptied the tank, which I was intending to do anyway because I want to replace my flooring, and the tank was a big obstacle to that. So now I have no obstacles.
Gotcha.
Where are the fish?
By the way, just want to add.
They're in the small tank. Now on the I've put them on the fireplace.
Okay.
They're in the small 20-gallon tank.
I'm not even going to lie, dude. I've been moderately stressed all day about the safety of your fish, but I didn't want to ask. Like, I was really worried that you got up and there was this much water in the tank.
There hasn't been anything alive in that tank for several months, except for algae.
Oh, okay. Oh, so the tank was already defished.
It was already defished.
Yeah, he already had them in a separate.
And so I'm pulling everything out of the tank, all the rock and all that stuff out of the tank, and I found one lone hermit crab.
Oh.
That was alive, so I threw him in the other tank.
In the big tank?
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, that was the only thing alive in that tank was this one lone hermit
living
crab.
off algae and shit like that then.
Yeah.
I want to clarify, I don't care that it's always innuendo with you two. All right. So
Well, of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not.
You would
I don't
expect nothing less or nothing more.
Yeah.
All right.
And then my car battery died, so I had to replace that too.
Oh, dude.
Hey, that car's doing great, by the way. And as a side note, did you know they're ending Scion?
Yes. Well, they're ending the brand Scion, but they'll
Yes.
keep the XB and the XA and the whatever other.
Oh, so they are keeping the XB. But
yeah,
as
they're going to keep them
Toyota-
as a line of Toyota.
Okay, good.
But they're
I
just
thought they were
getting
doing
rid of
away
the
with
Scion
XB.
brand.
Okay, good. All right, so iOS 9.3, we had night shift. Here's a feature I really like. They allowed you to use Touch ID to lock notes in the Notes application. So, and you don't lock them all. You pick individual notes and choose which ones to lock, and then you can unlock them with your thumbprint. I think that's kind of good. For people that don't use, a lot of people use their Notes app to store passwords, right? Because they don't have a password manager like the three of us do. So they'll just write notes of their passwords, and once you're in the phone, you have access to that note, obviously, so you can rip out the passwords. Well, now individual notes can be password protected and Touch ID protected. I thought that was cool. The news.
That is cool.
Yeah, the News app, which I've been using a lot since it debuted with iOS 9, is way faster. I'm going to say conservatively 5 times faster, probably more likely 10 times faster at loading content than it was. It used to be when you first opened the app and jumped to a section, I would sit there for 15, 20, 25 seconds waiting for it to find the new content and load it. Now I go into it, I jump into a section, and it's there within a matter of seconds. I'm very impressed with the I just did it there. It took like 3 seconds to refresh and load the new content. Very impressed with the optimizations they've made to the News app. If anybody was avoiding the News app because it was slow, give it another chance because it's very good. It's also more personalized. I've noticed the For You section, or For Me section, is now a lot more relevant and includes a lot more of the topics that were in my favorites section. Now this, I don't know if they've added the ability to save articles or whether this ability was always there and I just didn't see it. But you now can swipe swipe to the left on an article and save an article to a saved section, which is great for the show because I have quick access now to the articles I want to reference during the show. A quick option to share there as well and to like an option. And if you swipe to the right, you can dislike an article, mute a channel, or report a channel.
So it's the Tinder of news.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, the Tinder of news. Force touching, or 3D touching if you have that capability.
Force touching? So it really is the Tinder of news.
Yeah. 3D
See, it's
touch,
him, not me.
3D touch gives you a quick preview of the story, which then you can then force press, I believe it's called, into to get into the story itself. Anyway.
Can't make this thing up, Danielle.
Uh-huh.
Something to do with education. Now, from what I understand, I haven't seen this, I haven't dug into it on either of my devices, but apparently this gives you the option of multiple user accounts for iPads that are used in an education environment. I haven't seen anything obvious on my iPad mini that would indicate this is the case. I assume it shows up when you log into a school's enterprise account or something like that, and then the option shows up for multiple user accounts. It's a shame because I was looking forward to trying that, having my account and then a guest account and seeing how those worked. But oh well, that's not there. For me, it might be there for you. And it released yesterday. It went live that day. Downloaded. Everything went smoothly. Upgraded. It was on 3 devices actually, because I upgraded this iPhone. I upgraded my iPhone 6, and I upgraded my iPad, and I did my Apple Watch. So.
I think my car iPod might be so old that it might not update.
It's possible. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure that even the iPhone 4S is still supported under iOS 9.3. I suppose I should have checked that before coming on here. But anyway. All right. That was the iPhone. Then they moved on to the iPad, and they released a smaller iPad Pro. So it's the 9.7-inch iPad in the professional specification. So it's the standard iPad, right? It's not the mini. It's the normal sized A4 sheet or legal sheet of paper sized iPad in a
Right.
Pro specification. It has some nice features though. It has a brand new screen that's not been on any device before, including the full sized iPad Pro. It has what they're calling a True Tone display. So there are ambient light sensors in the device itself that measure the temperature of the ambient light in your room and adjust the color temperature of the display to match the lighting environment that you're currently sitting in.
So I might not be as red.
Right, you may not be as red. I think that's a genius idea. You know how if you're in a dark room, for example, and it's poorly lit and the screen is like blinding you, it will realize you're in a darker room and it will adjust the color and the output to more match that room and hopefully not blind you as much. Or if you're in a warmer room, it will adjust the colors to match that environment you're in, which will give you a more accurate color reproduction on the screen based on the light that's reflecting off of the screen itself.
Yeah, my Android will do that. My Samsung does that.
Does it really?
Yeah, it's kind of a cool feature.
Yeah.
That's one of the complaints I actually had about the Huawei watch was that it didn't have that feature. So I'm driving to work in the dark, as you know, in the morning, and my watch comes on and it's like boom right in my face.
Oh yeah. Now bear in mind this doesn't adjust the brightness. It adjusts the color. Yeah, it's always iPhones and iPads have always had auto brightness. No, this.
Okay, then I misunderstood.
Yeah, this adjusts the color temperature of the display to match ambient lighting conditions. Right.
Okay.
So theoretically, we see color as a refraction of light, correct? Mm-hmm. So any light that's bouncing off of this screen will affect the color display of the screen. Well, supposedly this True Tone display will adjust based on ambient light to make sure that your color reproduction on the display is 100% accurate regardless of your ambient lighting conditions.
Okay. Yeah, that's a little different then. Yeah, I see what the difference is.
Yeah, I think that's remarkably clever. Supposedly, this display is 40% less reflective. It's a 20% brighter display than the iPad Air and has 25% greater color saturation than the iPad Air, which is quite nice, I guess. It has the Pro Audio system off of the super mega big iPad. So it has a 4-speaker stereo system with apparently twice the volume output of the iPad Air. It has
That's a feature that I've missed on this iPad that I have. I have the Retina. And
yeah.
The sound is good, but it could be a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, see, I have the Ruby says your redness does not detract from your natural beauty.
Aww.
Yeah. I have my iPad Mini has the same setup as
yours. It's
going
to make me redder now.
It has a single speaker, and I think the sound quality is terrible from an iPad. It's tinny, it's weak, it's bullshit because of the single speaker. That's why I use headphones or a Bluetooth. I use Bluetooth headphones or a Bluetooth speaker all the time.
Yeah.
It has the A9X 64-bit processor. Supposedly has more graphics processing power than an Xbox. They said either the Xbox 360 or the Xbox One. I'm going to go with the Xbox 360. But it looked pretty damn cool. It supports the Apple Pencil. The pressure sensitive and the tilt. It recognizes tilt and pressure off.
That looked
more
pretty cool.
Processing power than an Xbox.
More graphics processing power than an Xbox 360.
Don't they have like big fans on their processors to keep them cool?
See, that's the beauty of Apple's graphics processing. It doesn't require those big old fans anymore. like the Xbox. So
Then again, it doesn't have to support a huge screen either. So
yeah, absolutely, it supports its own 9.7-inch display.
yeah,
Um,
okay.
So it has the 12 megapixel camera off the same one as in the iPhone 6. I think in a first for an iPad, it has a flash, and it has the True Tone flash. By the way, the True Tone flash is very similar to the True Tone display, Keith. The ambient light sensors of the iPhone adjust the color output of the flash so that it's more natural in the photograph.
Okay. Yeah,
And it
because
works very
traditionally
well.
they just adjust the brightness. They'll do a few pulses to adjust the brightness, and that's it.
Right. This can actually change the color of the flash. I think up to 256 different tones to give you the correct tonal balance for your lighting conditions. The same thing, by the way, with the front-facing True Tone screen flash. It uses the different colors.
It has a screen flash?
Yeah, in fact, I'll demo it for you as well. So I'm going to I'll take a quick selfie, and I'm going to use the True Tone flash. But watch I think it'll take a few seconds for it to get to you. But 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
It really
So there
brightens
isn't
up.
an actual flash on the front screen.
No, it's the display itself when you
It's
do
a pulse
that.
of the screen.
Yeah, and it will the Retina display will allow it to light up 4 times brighter than normal in order to create that flash effect for you.
Huh.
They replicated a flash without a flash, basically, and it works. It's very, very well done. It works extremely well. So yeah, it has the 12 megapixel camera, has a True Tone flash, supports live photos, and takes 4K video. It has a 5 megapixel FaceTime camera, again with Retina flash on the screen. Comes in 4 colors: the lovely rose gold, gold, space gray, and silver. And this is space gray. Yeah, it's dark gray. It's not even dark. This one's space gray. Actually, I'll show you.
It's all right.
Yeah, too late. Already did it.
I was more making fun of it anyway.
Well, this supposedly is space gray. I'll try and turn it into
That's
the light.
pretty spicy
Oh, you know
looking.
what? I was in space just the other day.
And you saw that same
I
color.
saw that exact color.
Yep. Doesn't surprise me. Here's what got me: the pricing of these things. I think it's very, very competitive. So it starts a 32 gig model for $599. Keith, when you bought your iPad, do you remember what it cost?
I don't remember. I honestly don't.
I bought my first iPad for $499, and it was the iPad 1, and it was a brilliant device at the time. But it was $499. I bought this iPad mini, which is 128 gigs, and I want to say this cost me $850. The 128 gig model of the iPad 9.7 Pro is $750. It's $100 less than I paid for this iPad mini, and it's like 3 times as powerful.
I want to say probably paid $500 or $600.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be my guess.
I'll tell you what, these prices are very competitive. So 32 gigs, $599. 120.
I think this is 64.
Okay. 128 for $749, and in a first ever for any iOS device, a 256 gigabyte option for $899. These I mean, obviously you can buy much cheaper tablets, right? You can pay a lot less and buy an Android tablet. Hell, look at the Kindles. The Kindle Fire was going for $50 at Christmas, wasn't it, Dan?
I think that's the regular price. I think I got it for $35.
Okay, so you got
they had a special for $35. My neighbor got it.
And it's a perfectly functional tablet for $35.
Black Friday or
yeah, that's exactly what I got.
Boxing
Keith, I got
Day
one for me and one for Mama for like $38.99 or something.
Yeah.
So you can pay a lot less, obviously, but if what you're after is an iPad, I got to tell you, this is a pretty good deal. $5.99 for this. They dropped the price of the iPad Mini also, I believe, down to. I don't know if they dropped the price or if it was still. I think it's $2.99. I posted that on Facebook. I don't remember. But their entire lineup of iPads, it has something for pretty much everybody. Here we go. Yeah, the iPad Mini. No, they dropped it to $269 for an iPad Mini. The iPad
16. Is that 16 gig?
Yeah, I'm going to assume that's a 16 gig for $269.
Yeah, which I wouldn't recommend anybody get a 16 gig.
I went over that earlier. I think 16s are stupid, but
I'm fighting that with my Samsung right now. As I've only got a 16 gig. It was a dumb cost-saving move, and I'm constantly having to delete cache, delete apps that I don't want to use. It's just a pain.
Yeah, I could not survive with a 16 gig device, but for an iPad with a tablet, I think a lot of people might, because
and especially with an iOS device, is that you don't have the ability to have a SIM. You know, at least I can throw a 256 gig SIM in, and
they make these with Wi-Fi or cellular capability, so you can buy one that's Wi-Fi only, or you can buy one with Wi-Fi and cellular. So you can put a SIM card in them. And
he means memory card.
I mean memory.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, there's no expandable memory. That's correct. Now, actually, that brings up another point that I missed. On these new iPad Pros, they released a couple of dongles for them, which now support powered USB devices. So one of them was a USB dongle, right? Plugs into the Lightning port. So now you could theoretically plug a hard drive into your iPad.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's possible then you could add some kind of storage that way, but you'd be walking around with a dongle. They also added an Ethernet.
How's that not funny?
Whatever. See, there's the innuendo again. They also added. Go on.
Nothing.
Okay.
You know, nobody wants to walk around with their dongles sticking out, though.
God,
that's all I'm saying.
Any second. They also added an Ethernet option dongle, so you can plug into Ethernet now on your iPad. Again, I'm not sure really what the point of that is, but anyway, iPad.
If you were in a hotel room that didn't have Wi-Fi, maybe, I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's possible.
You know, or some place that only had Ethernet. I don't know.
Ethiopia? Like, where are you gonna? Well, anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, iPad Mini starts at $269. iPad Air 2 $399. The new iPad Pro 9.7 starts at $599, and the iPad Pro 12.9 inch starts at $799. They got something for everybody right there. I love my iPad Mini, by the way. I have an iPad Mini 3, I believe it is, with the Touch ID and that nonsense. It's 128 gigs. I have it hooked up to this keyboard. I love it. I've had the 9.7-inch iPad. I still prefer the Mini to the 9.7, but that's me. Whatever. It doesn't matter. And that was it for the Apple event yesterday. And that's actually all we have time for tonight. So
I got one quickie.
Go on.
Google Photos has an update, which we'll talk about next week, because I think there's a lot to talk about. But you mentioned very briefly that we love Google Photos, and that if people are running out of space to download Google Photos, this is even more reason to do it. That was all.
Oh, are you just giving me a teaser until next week?
Well, I mean, we can talk about it, but we're out of time. So yeah.
Yeah, no, let's do it next week. Oh, damn it! Now I'm not even gonna research this. I'm gonna wait for the surprise.
You what?
I'm gonna wait for the surprise. I'm not gonna research it.
Okay, good.
All right.
Well, okay. Well, you wanted to talk about video, Google Photos and video, so you can talk about that next week.
I didn't. Well, I was just gonna see if it supported video.
Well, it does.
Okay.
So.
We answered that. Danielle answered that question for us. It does support
video.
Well,
because mine has video in it, but you were going to figure out.
I'm going to figure out if it downsizes the video when it uploads it.
Yeah, you were going to do geeky boy stuff about video.
Mm-hmm. But now if I start looking into that, I'm going to find out what these new features are that you're teasing me with, and it's going to ruin the surprise. So I'm not even going to research that.
Okay.
I'm going to pull a morning show. No research.
Just do it as you go.
That's right.
All right. Well, people in viewer and listening land, go get Google Photos because it's super good.
Yeah, oh God. Now I may have to. Oh, we'll talk about this next week.
What?
Well, because when I tested Google Photos, right, I did a really thorough test. I did it on my iPad and my iPhone and my Mac, and I uploaded my I don't know if you remember, but I uploaded my photo library 3 times to make sure it worked from all 3 places. And
yeah, because you were doing it for a friend.
It takes days. Initially, that initial.
Oh, it took forever.
Yeah. So if I'm going to download a new version and test it thoroughly, I'm going to be busy doing that for a little while.
I mean, it's not like it didn't reinvent the wheel, dude. It just like changed. Relax. It's not that big of a deal.
I'm not worried about it, other than I don't use Google Photos. So after I tested it, I deleted everything.
So you don't have it anymore.
Yeah, I'll have to upload everything again and test it out, because if it can replace iCloud Photo, maybe it will. Do you see what I'm saying?
Why did you get rid of it before? Why didn't you keep using it?
Because why
don't we just talk about it now? Why don't we just talk about it now?
Maybe.
Because we've teased it for like 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm just going to answer your question quickly.
You're like a sorority girl.
I'm pretty sure back then, at least on iOS, it did not support video.
Oh.
Right.
Well, I can tell you for an absolute fact, I'm going to look again to make sure that I looked in my Google Photo library, and there is a video of me sitting in my car talking. So mine uploaded a video.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it will replace my iCloud photo library. We'll see. Or maybe I can get it to work in conjunction with each other. We'll have to see.
Now, I can say that mine does not transfer my videos. I do use Google Photo because, I have the Mac, I have the iPad, and I have the Android phone. And so it's a really handy way of synchronizing everything.
Yes.
Can you look right there? That's a video in my Google Photos.
I'm just saying my videos aren't on there, and that doesn't mean that it doesn't do it. That just means.
Did you have videos on your phone?
Yeah, I take videos all the time, like at the hockey games and stuff.
Maybe it was a configuration setting I missed.
Exactly. I don't know. I've never looked for it. Yeah. I just know they're not there.
Yeah, maybe Keith and I are missing the same setting. I'm not sure.
Or you know what? Maybe the videos that I uploaded aren't as big as the ones that you guys had. I don't know. I just know that I've just looked again, and now there's one of little Mr. Pooping, and there's one of me sitting in the car talking that are in my Google Photos.
I'm glad that wasn't the other way around.
Yeah, I'm going to look into that again then. And we'll talk about it more in depth next week.
Yeah, we should probably know more before we start trying to tell people.
I will actually pay attention to it this week and try and upload some videos and see if they upload. I'll do it from both devices.
Okay, good. All right, well that's all we've got time for tonight. Danielle, you wanna talk about
take us out?
Yeah, or something.
Sure.
I don't know.
What? You want to close?
Oh wait, let's it's Tuesday tomorrow, so the morning show, and then the World According to Mike Wednesday evening at 7, and then the Rough Edge, RUFF, by the way, is how that's spelled.
Rough Edge.
Yeah, so if you are looking for it on Facebook, it's RUFF Edge, the Rough Edge, not the ROUGH.
I usually just go to the Just for Fun radio and then find the link from there.
There you go, and that's what I recommend people do. And that's Jacob's show. That's on Thursday nights. Monday nights is Latest Talk with DJ Smiles, Crystal, and Ashley, her co-host, who now has the nickname. What is it?
Was it Sunshine?
I think it is Sunshine. That's Monday nights at 7. What I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing this weekend. Maybe I'll see you all at the
Saturday 2 to 5 at the VFW. We got a meet and greet.
Maybe I'll see you guys at the VFW 2 to 5 on Saturday. What else?
That's it, Keith. Any hockey?
We have a hockey game on Thursday, and then another one, I think, Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember which day.
Okay.
Go Gladiators.
We've got 4 games left. We're in the 9th position of our conference, and you need to be in the top 8 for the playoffs.
Dude, that's where the Red Wings are for the Stanley Cup. We're like battling for the wild card.
Yeah.
Well, get out and support your Gladiators then. Root them on, get them into that 8th position at the very least, preferably 7th or 6th. I don't know if they can make it to that position with 3 games left, but we'll see.
I'd have to do the math, and that would take time.
Yep.
I'd have to use fingers.
You can catch us on all the things. And like I said, I'm xandermac on Twitter, xandermac on Instagram, but spelled differently. Facebook.com/xandermac, or go to the techtalk page. Danielle is techdanielle on Twitter and Facebook. Keith, what are you on? You're on Twitter. Keith Bergen. Keith underscore Bergen.
I just use my name. I'm not fancy.
You should set up a Keita Burger account.
Keita Burger account.
Yeah. Keita Burger.
One day we'll tell the Keita Burger story.
We will. We'll just keep teasing people with that from now on. That's it. That's it for us. We're out till next week. Thanks
for joining. Give us a thumbs up, comment, questions.
Yep. Bye to everybody on the radio. We'll see you
next week.
Thanks
for listening.
And I guess bye to everybody on YouTube.
Bye, YouTubes.
Thank you for watching, and if you're watching the replay, God knows why, but thank you very much. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like.
Thumbs up.
God knows why, because it's the best show on the internet.
Oh, and share this stuff. Let's get people watching this nonsense.
Yes. Link to it.
Yeah.
Tweet it.
And hell, we'll be back next week. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.